They murmured against God, making God look like a fool or who doesn't know what he is doing. The strange thing there is that in the land, in the wilderness, there were some persons that saw other people looking at the bronze serpent. They saw them looking and were living, and yet they themselves were not looking at the bronze serpent, and guess what? They were dying. I want you to look closely at this picture right here, because this is not just a mere picture. This is not just a mere image. This picture you are seeing here is actually conveying a message. It is carrying a message, a vital message that you need to know. That is why I'm bringing it to you at this moment. For those of you that are familiar with Bible stories, you already know what this picture is all about. And for those of you who do not know, that is why I'm bringing it to you right here, so that you will know the message that is inside of this picture you are seeing right here. To summarize the story, it happened, when the Israelites and Moses were leaving the land of Egypt on their way, after destroying a certain group of Canaanites, a certain people in the land of Canaan, before they get to the promised land. You see, there was a time that they were in lack and want. There was a time that they were in lack and want of food and water. And because of there was no food, there was no water, they murmured against God. Now, this is not the only time they are murmuring against God, nor against Moses. So, they murmured against God and against Moses. They talked bad against God. And why has God brought them here? Is to kill them in the wilderness. He should have allowed them to stay in the land of Egypt, making God look like a fool or who doesn't know what he is doing for, by bringing them out of the land of slavery. So, because God heard that, God was offended and God plagued them and sent in strange serpents to bite them and kill them. Now, they ran to Moses and pleaded, and Moses prayed on their behalf to God, and God said, okay. God asked Moses to make a serpent, a bronze serpent. Now, mold something in form of a serpent and hang it on top of a pole. That is what you are seeing right here. Hang it on top of a pole, that whosoever looks at it, anybody that has been bitten by the real snake that God sent, and that person looks at this image here, looks at the bronze serpent on the pole, will live. So that is the story behind all of this. Now, what is this picture here saying? You see, this snake here, this serpent here, this bronze serpent signifies Jesus Christ, while the pole that the snake is on top signifies the cross. Now let me tell you, Jesus is no longer on the cross. Jesus already died and resurrected on the third day. So Jesus is no longer on the cross. Now, how does it concern you? How does it concern you? You see, all men were conceived out of iniquity. Yes, all men were conceived out of iniquity. So that snake, that serpent is already around us, biting us. The sicknesses, the diseases, the infirmities, everything that is not good, that God doesn't want for you and I, is already within us. Now, how do we save ourselves from all of this? It's by looking unto Jesus Christ, who is the author and finisher of our faith. Now, the strange thing there is that in the land, in the wilderness, there were some persons that saw other people looking at the bronze serpent. They saw them looking and were living, and yet they themselves were not looking at the bronze serpent, and guess what? They were dying. Don't be like those people that were seeing other people getting saved by looking at the bronze serpent on the pole, and yet they were dying because they refused to look. Don't be like them. Jesus Christ is still in the ministry of saving men and women who have been beaten by all manner and all level of infirmities, it doesn't matter the weight of the sin, it doesn't matter how far you must have gone from God. Now look at this. You see, the more you go closer to God, the farther you become from the things that are not of God. Let me say it again. The farther you become from the devil is the more you become closer to God. So why not move closer to God and you become farther from those things, those sicknesses which you and I do not want in our lives and in our families. So Jesus Christ is still hanging there, knocking. He said, I behold, I stand at the door of your heart and I knock. Whosoever opens the door of his or her heart, he is going to come in and sup with that person. Imagine eating with the president of your country. Imagine eating with the president of your country. Jesus Christ is more than the president of your country. Jesus Christ is more than Jesus Christ. If you don't know who Jesus is the head of all principalities and the head of all powers. That is who Jesus Christ is. He is the Lord and personal Savior of whosoever accepts him. So I want you to look unto Jesus because he's still saving. Jesus will save you and I from everything that we do not want, from all the pains, from all the things, all the lack, all the wants in our lives. Jesus Christ will fill in those gaps. My brother, my sister, Jesus still saves. There is no discrimination on the cross. There is at all no discrimination on the cross. It doesn't matter your size, it doesn't matter your village, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter the language you speak. There is no discrimination on the cross. Jesus still saves. Always remember that. God bless you. Please do well, like this video and follow this page.